Okay, now what we're going to talk about is the supply air sensor. I've got a cup of hot water, and I've got my thermocouple from my thermometer, and you can see it's 181 degrees. So right now the furnace and the blower is on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick that supply air sensor in that cup of hot. Well, it's gone down to 179 degrees now. But I'm going to stick that supply air sensor in the cup of hot water and wait for the furnace to cycle off. Now it's going to take a minute or so, because yeah, it's 180 degrees, but keep in mind that if it's in a furnace, it's gradually getting up to the temperature. So the supply air sensor is following that, the temperature rise when the furnace is running. This is kind of starting off at 67 degrees. So it's going to take just a little bit to get it to turn the furnace off. And while I'm waiting on it to cool back down, what we'll talk about is the dials, the settings for the outdoor sensor, settings for the limits, staging, and okay, now the furnace just went off. So let's talk about the dials on the board. So right now the blower is running, so it's going to take a while to cool that supply air sensor down. All right, so the first dial we have is our second stage timer, or our outdoor sensor. Right now I have the outdoor sensor set for around 17 degrees, or if there wasn't an outdoor sensor, it would be 17 minutes. If you have an outdoor sensor, it means you have a heat pump. If you just have a regular air conditioner, you wouldn't put the outdoor sensor in with in that application. If you had an air conditioner, you would not put the outdoor sensor. So if you had a two-stage air conditioner, you would use the first dial here to set your time, set your staging. So 5 minutes, 5, 12, 19, 26, 33, 40, and 47. That's your minutes or your temperature, depending on which one you use. And I'm going to set it, because I'm going to show you the operation of the outdoor sensor here in just a little bit, so I'm going to set it up real high. The next dial is your low limit temperature, meaning for your air conditioning, and that's where your supply air sensor comes in use. You can set it all the way down to 34 degrees, 37, 40, 43, 46, 19, or 52. Okay, your next one is your high limit. Next one is your high limit, and right now I've got it set for like 115 or something like that, but it's 110, 120, 130, 140, 150, 160, and 170 degrees. Okay, your next one is your second stage heat differentials, meaning if you have this thing set for 140 degrees, then your second stage, if it's in second stage heat, if you have it down to 5, that means if your high limit is set on 40, then and that's set on 5, that means it'll go off at 145 degrees. All right, the furnace just came back on. The supply air sensors cooled down. If you have it set for 12, that's 152 degrees, because your first one's on 140. 19, 26, it just goes up by whatever time you have, and in between there is some temperature settings, anywhere from like 19. Right now it's on 19, so in between 19 and 26, that's whatever, you know, you just kind of got to use your own head on that one. If you're not familiar with how a sensor works, it works off of resistance. Every temperature, like 50 degrees, has a resistance. So here in just a little bit, I'll try to find the resistance settings for what 50 degrees is. There's a chart. You can get it. It comes with, like, if you order an outdoor sensor, it comes with a sensor, but I don't have one. So, oh, and by the way, when you get a zone board, your supplier sensor comes with it. I know there's other brands that doesn't supply the supplier sensor. You have to get it, buy it separately. And then something else cool is when you get a zone board with the EWC, you get a free screwdriver. I have a bunch of these. This one, I can't find any brand new ones. The name is wore off, so I've been putting these things in for the last 8 years, and I won't put anything else back in, or anything else in. Although I'm guilty of having a Honeywell zone board at my house, and the only reason why is because I got it for free. If EWC would give me a cool new panel, because they have an awesome communicating panel now. So anything on the, I think it's Comfort Talk. So Goodman and Riemann Rude, you know, hey, if you have that communicating system and you want to do zoning with it, EWC makes the panel for it. By the way, I'm not employed by EWC, I just like the product. Alright, the lights we have. The first one, of course, is your status light, and it's constantly checking. They have what they call a watchdog circuit, and every time that thing is turning off and on, it is checking the control board. So every second it's making a check of everything that's happening on this board. The next light is your outdoor sensor. If you come and the thing is not running, and you get up here and the OAS light is flashing, check your outdoor sensor, the resistance on it. Your next one, of course, is your supply air sensor. The next one is zone 3. If we had a zone 3 thermostat set on here, that light would be on when zone 3 was calling. Zone 2 is your next one down, same thing. Zone 1, right now zone 1 is running, so it's saying, hey, it's running. And then your fan, but that's saying, hey, if your fan is in an on position, switch it over to fan on, see what happens. It's not, so let me run this temperature down. Alright, so the furnace is going to go off. Alright, so the fan came on because I've got the fan set in the on position. You have your Y1, your W1 there at the bottom, W2 in emergency, and that's it as far as the zone board goes. So let's see, we'll talk about the operation, about what happens when what calls on the thermostat and the zone dampers, and we'll go into operation of the air conditioner. I'll show you I've got some ice out here I can put on the outdoor sensor there, so you know when it cools down you'll see what happens there. So while we're doing that, let's go ahead and switch it over to cooling. Alright, so that one's on cooling. Switch zone 2 on cool. Right now it's on cooling. We'll run it down. '61 should be fine. We'll do the same. same thing on this one here. 61. Okay, this board has a 3-minute time delay. So right now it's in, everything is open. Thermostats have time delay on it. The board has a 3-minute time delay on it, so it's saying zone 1 is open, zone 2 is open, and then so now what's going to happen is when the thermostats do call, it's going to send a signal from the thermostat. It's going to go through the circuit board, go through the different relays, and send power out of Y1 down. The transformer down here is just my simulated blower compartment where all your electrical connections are. What I did is I have some old furnaces out there in my scrap yard, and so I just got a transformer from it, and for the zone panel I got a transformer for it. So of course your power is going to come down from Y1, and it's going to come down from G, come down through here at my wire connections. It's going to flow up the wire, and it's going to turn the contactor on, and it's going to send the signal over to the blower relay, and it's going to turn the blower on. So we're just waiting on it to satisfy, or to turn the thermostats on. Now, while we're waiting on that, the zone transformer, it definitely, you always need a zone transformer, always. Anytime if you don't have one, you will have problems on your zone system, and if you do and you don't understand what's going on, as soon as you have to call tech support, they're going to ask you, do you have a separate transformer on your zone board? If you tell them no, the first thing they're going to say is go add a transformer and then call us back. So save yourself some time, save yourself some aggravation. Always add your transformer on any zone board, whether it be EWC, Aprilaire, Linux, or whoever. Just go ahead and add a transformer. Like I said before, I didn't have any dampers. Well, none that I can connect to this board. I do have a damper motor over there, and I'll show that here in a few minutes. But what I did is, you remember M1, M4, and M6 on your zone connection, on your damper connections on the circuit board. What I did is I took my M1 for my common, ran it down, and supplied the relay with M1, and my M4 is my power open. So when it calls for, says, hey, I need power on zone 1, then what happens is it powers the relay, then it sends power. Okay, my blower motor is on, just came on, so it's going to go through its 90-second purge. So anyway, so it sends power. Alright, so it just went through a 90-second purge. The air conditioner is now on, and the blower motor is on. Alright, so while we're doing that, my low limit is at 40. So actually I want to turn that up. Let me turn it up here to like 52. We'll reset it. We'll do a timer reset. Alright, so there you go. See how fast that was? So if you're working on the thing in the field, that timer reset is always good.